What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and I'm going to make this video because it needs to be said, and I think that it's important that everyone is aware of this. Now, it could be controversial. People may misconstrue what I'm going to say, but I think it's important to speak up in a time of crisis like this. And I think that the media tries to create division between groups of people because the more groups you have scattered around, the more weak a nation becomes. Instead of unifying everyone, they try to divide everyone. And I think that a lot of people are waking up to this and realizing what's happening. And here is an example of of the way media tries to give a negative connotation to things. But also, I'm going to prove some other key points that are essential. Now, I'm all for people having, and I'll make a disclaimer. I don't care what side of the coin you are. What I do care is that you acknowledge that everyone has the freedom of press, freedom of assembly, and freedom of speech. Okay, everyone has that. Those are inalienable rights that humans have. Now, I'm also of the camp, or I shouldn't say of the camp, but I'm of the opinion that when you do speak up and you do these things, don't do it at the expense of burning someone else's business or disrupting, a freeway, or, causing harm to other people. You can still have your voice heard without having to cause destruction. Okay, there's a difference there. Now, what I'm gonna say here is, okay, we see this post here on Twitter. It says anti-inoculation passport protests threaten to disrupt essential services. Now, you can see how the media could spin that in a negative way and blame, protesters for causing, this problem and that problem and blame it on them. When in reality, they're just standing up for what they believe and they don't want to be coerced to do something that's against their conscience. And that's what I'm talking about with the media creating divisiveness. Now I'm going to provide the other flip side. And this is, I don't know if you guys have heard, but the Canadian border, there's been a lot of truckers that have blocked the entrance to the Canadian border in protest. Now, people can protest and they can do that, but I want to make a point about the supply chain. The supply chain is already broken down across the world. And by doing this, now, I'll also make a disclaimer. Maybe there's powers at play that are causing this and creating this issue so that people can blame it on these protesters. That's another argument that is possible. But if it isn't, there's the side of what I said earlier. You gotta, if you are gonna do your protesting and stand up and make your voice heard, you can't do it at the expense of, the whole nation, because then, the media can create this kind of thing and attack you and make it seem like a bad thing. But no, it's your right. So this is another flip side of the coin that I wanted to present, where, if this lasts for a long time, it could really supply it could really break down the supply chain in Canada. And so that's something I want to make you guys aware of. And like I said, there could be powers at play that are, directing this and creating this in order to blame protesters, because what's happening around, I showed a video of what's happening in Australia. It is insane, the things that are taking place. And I don't think that people should stand up for that, because it's literally going against people's freedom of conscience, freedom of liberty. And that's not okay. So I think we should be united and against what's happening, and not let the media create small divided groups that are all against each other, because divided we fall, but united we conquer. So I think it's important that we are able to unite on this topic and not fall for whatever's being forced upon you. Okay? Now, everyone, like I said, I don't care what side of the coin you are. But what has to be acknowledged is that everyone has the right to do as they choose. Okay? Now, in terms of a lot of events taking place, we know that a lot of climate events are happening, a lot of fires in Lake Tahoe, and especially in California, all over California, and it's ravaging a lot of the trees, a lot of the forests that are there. We see that the remains of Hurricane Ida affected Newark Airport. You see the flooding that's happening here. That's going to cause a lot of damage to the buildings, the infrastructure. Also, we see the roads here. I've seen videos of cars that are almost fully submerged underwater. I've seen one of the minor league baseball team's field is completely underwater. Okay, that creates destruction in the infrastructure, and there's gonna be a breakage in the supply chain more than there already is. So people, pay attention to the events that are happening. Don't be divided by the media. Okay, everyone has the ability to think on their own, the ability to make decisions on their own. Okay, regardless what your decision is, that's your choice. But don't try to coerce someone against their conscience, because that's not the principles on which this nation was founded. We were founded upon the principles of freedom of liberty and pursuit of happiness. Okay? I hope this episode has been valuable to you. I hope that it has provided some insight. Like and subscribe. Share if you like. Let other people be aware. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.